think so. I wish I knew how to tell. I mean, it has a stop button, so I'm getting. Oh, because the amount of time is like blocked off by this thing, so you can't see. But yeah, it's recording. Yeah, it's recording. All right, get in there.
All right. All right. Where you sitting? Fucking go close to me.
Welcome.
Yo, episode 1.
The very first episode of Fair Enough.
Yes, sir.
You know what I know about these shorts is they look like I'm naked woman. Because I was holding Jack for these photos and I was wearing these shorts. And it literally looked like I was naked holding Jack.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. But I'm not a child molester.
Chief is one thing.
Yeah. Although those are okay now.
Chomos?
Yeah.
Chazoo.
According to the LGBTQ plus. What is it? It's
Q.
There's a name for the like pedophile acceptance.
Oh, I see.
Gender attracted children? No, it's not gender. That's a
child attracted person.
MAPS, something attracted person.
Minor attracted person. Jesus
MAPS.
Christ, bro.
Where's the map when you need
Bro,
it?
where's my gun, bro? Fuck.
Right. Agreed. So, anyways, welcome to Fair Enough, episode 1.
Number 1.
Go over some heated topics and discussions.
Are we telling what we do?
But at the end of the day, it's fair enough.
It's always fair enough. Agree to disagree. You know, we're all friends at the end of it. How discourse should be.
Unlike Young Thug.
Fuck, that's a transition, huh? Okay. Unlike Young Thug, we're not in jail. Young Thug is in jail for, I guess they're kind of
Racketeering.
The head of a RICO organization, whatever the fuck. Racketeering.
Do you know what the entire acronym is?
I don't know. Racketeering something. Oh.
And corruption and corruptive organization. Racketeering and
I don't fucking know.
yeah.
But yeah,
Probably
probably
was
was locked up.
Yeah. I just know the song.
Who?
Drake and Meek Mill. Rico.
They had a song called RICO?
Yeah, it was a good. I thought it was a banger.
I never heard.
Really? Yeah. Well, my phone's recording.
Nah, we don't want to get copyright.
Yeah, that's true. That'll get pulled for our.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking. Didn't they have when they had that?
It was when he had
at the end of their beef, right?
Him, having a what's it called? When somebody writes lyrics that's not a shadow writer or a
ghostwriter.
Ghostwriter.
Oh, okay.
And that's why Drake called out Meek for that.
But Drake has a ghostwriter. That's like common knowledge, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it's
More power to him, honestly.
I don't give a fuck. But
if I'm entertained with the sound that goes into my ear.
But people that listen to Drake don't give a fuck about that shit.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's like.
Yeah, no, but anyways, yeah, Young Thug locked up, looking like he's guilty. Apparently, he rented the car that was used in a murder.
What kind of car was it?
It was like a silver Infinity. So yeah, something like
Fair
that.
enough.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why you would do that. Like, if you're gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you be so attached to a crime if you're
Pride.
if you have
I think these are some real prideful cats.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well,
I think,
maybe
I
ego
think that's
driven.
what has to push all of them over the edge.
Yeah.
That's like immediately I start thinking about people like Aaron Hernandez. This dude, you're like on a Super Bowl winning team,
fucking blew
just
it,
signed
that
a
guy.
contract, and decided to kill somebody. Kill 2 people.
3.
3.
Yeah.
I should have watched.
And himself.
Yeah.
That's 4.
Yeah. And then he hung himself.
Yeah. You never watched the documentary?
No, and I heard it was good.
I watched
Netflix.
the majority of it. Yeah, it was very. It's pretty sad, bro. Like, if you're gay, you're gay. Like, live your life. You know, you don't
Right.
need to kill 3 people on yourself. You know,
Right.
it's a little extra.
Yeah, at least like do it like do it like Dahmer.
Do it like Dahmer. Eat 'em.
If you're gonna do it, at least eat them afterwards.
Fuck.
It's like I had this. My parents had this major debate before I was born, actually.
Yeah.
And my dad said, if whatever my kid becomes, I want him to be the best at it, even if it's like if he's a murderer. Like I want him to be the best murderer.
Fair enough, bro.
And yeah, initially my mom disagreed, and then now she agrees that you might as well just be the absolute best at whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to live. You know.
Balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, I don't know.
all gas, no brake.
I think if you're gonna live that way, you shouldn't do things that you're not good at. You know what I mean? Because that's just not. That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Like I don't want to be the best doctor because I can't be. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna be.
Yeah,
if you're
but
gonna be
I
the
think
best
it's like
of the
once you
best, then
found out
be-
what your niche is.
Yeah, all right.
So if it happens to be that you are Jack the Ripper, then like you're gonna be ripping some people.
You're gonna be ripping some jacks, huh?
Yeah. And if you're Young Thug, then
you're
I
gonna
guess be the best Young Thug that you could possibly
be the best bag fumbler there is. Huh?
Yeah, just show everybody exactly not how to do it.
Yeah, just.
But what's he facing? He's got to be like 25 to life.
Oh, I'm sure there's an L at the end of it. Definitely.
Wow.
And I think he's on there.
What's his biggest song?
There's a couple. That best friend song. That's my best friend. My best.
Oh,
best.
okay.
And then he had lifestyle. He had all those.
Oh, he's the one that did Lifestyle.
Yeah, that's like kind of his like
retarded
breakout
sounding
song.
one?
Yeah,
That's
like his
so,
breakout
that
song.
makes me.
makes you happy.
Not, I don't want to
Fucking
say
hater.
happy, but I just remember when people were like hyped about that song. I was just like, do you guys not hear like a retard like just like lifestyle?
Right.
like I don't even know what the lyrics were. I just know the sound.
Nobody knows.
Right. I guess that's part of the mystere of Young Thug.
No, but I mean, he was good. He's up there. You know?
Yeah.
I was never like a huge fan of him, but he's.
Did he have weapons on him?
That I don't know. I didn't
Any of
really look
this?
too far into it.
Because you know, nowadays, if you have anything that looks like a Call of Duty rifle,
Oh
So,
my god, yeah.
they're coming. For
They're
you.
coming for you, man. Biden's gonna take your guns. He's
That's right.
calling for gun control. It's wild.
And then my favorite part is Johnny sent me a link to an article by Matthew McConaughey last night
Mhm.
that was basically his like tried to be the guy in the middle that's like balanced for everybody. He supports the Second Amendment, but we need to start discussing red flag laws, which anybody that supports the Second Amendment would be anti-red flag law. And then he gets, of course, media time today on Fox News.
Why does he feel like he has to be the guy though?
I think Uvalde, where the shooting was,
Yeah.
is his hometown.
Oh,
So I think
okay.
he feels like in terms of that,
At
he's
least that
always
makes a
been
little
like
bit of sense.
the local Texas icon, you
The
know,
hometown
good,
hero guy?
good guy, Matthew McConaughey, and
So wait, what are red flag laws? What is that?
it's basically it opens the gate for seizure of your weapons without any actual evidence. So if your neighbor, like if you had a problem with your neighbor and they call on you
Yeah.
and they say that he has guns over there,
Yeah.
the cops, they can seize your weapons without having to really ask any questions by having these laws, because it would be considered an aggressive situation.
Yeah.
And the way it's written, it's not that it's necessarily a huge problem on the front end. It's the slippery slope that it creates for the kind of gun
Yeah,
control
I
that
can
it
see
could
how
lead
that
to.
could go south very quickly.
And yeah, and then I mean, basically same kind of views that are held by like fake Republicans, like Dan Crenshaw, the eye patch guy.
He's a fake Republican now?
Yeah, well, he came out in support of red flag laws. He came out in support of Liz Cheney and her fight against Trump on the January 6th thing.
Dick Cheney's wife?
Yeah, no, daughter, Liz
Oh,
Cheney. Yeah, she's a total rhino. She's
Really?
disgusting. Yeah, but I mean that's probably the hardest pill to swallow for me, has been realizing how bad of an administration the Bush Jr. and Dick Cheney administration was.
Well, you're a pretty big Bush supporter. I think I've heard you say that you think he's probably one of the best presidents of our time.
No, not Bush.
Not Bush?
No,
No?
definitely not Bush.
Oh, okay.
I at the time that he was in presidency, I supported him,
Yeah.
and I initially supported the war in Iraq on the pretense that there was actually weapons of mass destruction there and all that.
So wait a minute. So you were pretty conscious of what was going on at that time, even though you were fairly young.
Oh yeah, no, I was following basically from the moment that 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
From that day forward, Fox News was probably on 90% of the time in my house.
Mm.
It was on all the time.
Mm.
And it was like this new, like my parents were always at least like somewhat politically informed, but it was never this like blanket, like, okay, all the time there's just news on in your house.
Okay.
And then once 9/11 happened, that was it. It was like just always on the TV.
That was the catalyst. Huh?
Yeah, basically it was that until the shows that we would watch when the Laker games were on. So like, you know, because I was a huge Laker fan
Right.
growing up, and then we would watch like Survivor and like The Apprentice, which was probably my favorite show of all time.
Really?
The Apprentice was so sick. Not what it turned into later, because it became like how much celebrities can pump up numbers for charities, which is cool cause-wise, but as far as a show, the original Apprentice was like people that are trying to win a position to work in Trump's next project.
Oh, so it was a real,
These
show.
were, yeah. Oh, it was such a great like concept, because first of all, it taught you about how businesses work,
Right.
and then it taught you about like project management and all these things. And basically, they had like different kind of themed ones. There was like high school graduates versus college graduates, and I think, if I remember correctly, I think high school graduates won.
Really?
Yeah, like
Wow.
or like the guy that whoever the
Sure.
last one standing was a high school graduate, and then it like, but in the very beginning, it was just basically teams that are split up in two, and whoever ends up winning gets to be the head project manager of Trump's next like project.
Wow.
So like I think it was a golf course in Virginia, or who knows what it was,
Yeah.
for the first season. And then they started switching to like, okay, girls versus guys, and then the high school versus college. So like they did like different things before it became Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah.
But then, which in its own right, Celebrity Apprentice was cool because of how much money was being raised for good causes. But it kind of changed like how the show goes, you know.
I've never seen an episode of that.
Really?
Never.
Oh, you would love it,
I'm
especially
sure.
knowing like the business mind and how you think. It's
Yeah.
like you would probably binge watch it nonstop.
No, you
It's
probably
great.
right. I've never seen it.
And it's cool because it shows it from so many angles. There's like the project management angle, but there's the creative angle, because they would have to like make a logo and work with graphic designers and like, you know, and it would be different projects all the time. It'd be like, all right, Zappos is coming out with this new shoe, and you need to do like an entire thing for a pop-up event that's like supposed to bring the most customers, and like whichever team gets the biggest draw is who wins, and then and every episode is different like that.
And so they would just
So-
keep doing contests or
Yeah,
events like that until somebody.
so if the team that loses goes to the boardroom and has to meet in front of Trump, and Trump gets to basically narrow it down to see who the biggest problem was, and then fires who he thinks it is. Because basically it's like the whole team, then the person that is the project manager gets to bring two people back to the boardroom with her, or him, and then of those three, Trump picks who gets fired.
Wow.
And yeah, it was,
Wow.
I loved
That's pretty
it.
cool.
And that was like, and he used to have like his, like guest. Well, at first it wasn't guests; it was like main judges other than Trump to kind of like be in his ear and tell him what they think,
Yeah.
and also eyes on, like they would go to the events and like see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you started bringing in like Trump Jr. and Eric Trump and Ivanka as like the side people. So that was like the first time I, saw them, which they
So
were
you've been a
some goofy
real-
people.
You said what?
They were just like Donald Trump Jr. at a young age was a very goofy. Well, actually, both of them. Eric Trump too. They're just like goofy looking guys. It's just, like the best thing Trump Jr. ever did was grow a beard, because that guy was just he needed a beard.
Yeah,
and
no
shit.
shame.
Yeah.
A blob of a chin.
Yeah, it was just tiny.
So you've been a fan of
Trump,
politics and like this type of
Oh, yeah.
shit for a long time.
very long time.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So how do you see, the atmosphere that we're in now? Like what do you think would make it better? Since you've been watching it for the
Legitimate
past 20 years.
elections.
Legitimate elections?
Yeah, I think until there's a forensic audit of every election, I don't think that any of it's real, or that we can trust any of it. I don't for either side, because what it's becoming to me is it's like, you know who David Icke is? Do you ever watch him?
I've heard his name
So
before.
his whole idea was that they pretend that there's these two sides, Republican and Democrat, but it's all just one puppet master for the show.
Sure.
And so it's never felt that way more for me than it does right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. Like even in the midterms coming up in November, let's say there's a landslide victory for a bunch of Republicans, which there probably will be according to poll numbers. I don't think that necessarily means anything's going to change. Like it could just be part of the play to make it seem like it's all it's all fair here.
Well,
And
not to fair enough, but could you make the argument that the government isn't supposed to function in a way that changes things drastically? So could the argument be made like maybe
Yes.
that's kind of the
I
point
think-
of all this?
I think if there wasn't already so much tampering that needs to be removed, because that's what I would mean, right? I would mean that somebody needs to come in and remove as much government, which is what Trump was. Basically, a removal of regulations, a removal of government overreach in so many different red tape situations that, that bureaucratic tape is what keeps infrastructure from ever getting built quickly.
Yeah, I remember seeing
All
that
these
big
things.
kind of stack of papers that he had.
Yeah, that was
Basically.
I think he said that he implemented a new, wasn't a law, but it was like his rule that he wouldn't sign any legislation until there was 3 things removed. So there would be no new regulation unless he's removing 3 others, and so it would force everybody to be like, all right, like what's
he signed that into
really
law?
That's how he was running. Like he was like, I won't sign anything until I see that.
That
3
was like his
things were
process
removed.
then.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, he was cutting regulations at a pace that nobody's ever seen.
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And so for me, it's not. I would agree if we were in a position where things are going pretty well, I wouldn't want somebody to come in and be like, I'm going to shake things up. Like that's not what I want.
Yeah.
But as far as where we're at now, I feel like yeah, we need somebody that's going to come in and, I mean, at the very least, allow us to be oil independent again.
Yeah, that one really doesn't make sense as to why gas is, it cost me $80 to fill up my car. That doesn't.
And if you talk to any liberals, they'll say, well, Biden doesn't have anything to do with gas prices.
Well,
It's
that's not
OPEC.
true at all.
I
That's
agree.
a
I
complete
agree.
lie.
I agree. But they'll tell you that he doesn't have that kind of power.
Nobody does.
And he does. That's the part that I don't think enough people understand. That like I guess they really didn't see what Trump did with our industry.
Yeah.
Because if you saw that, then you would know that Biden not allowing that would be already a tremendous cut to the amount of.
Well, Trump was harping on gas prices his whole basically term.
Yep.
And if you paid attention at all, like gas 2 years ago was $2.50 in California.
Yep.
And I just talked to my mom. She paid $5.79 in Fresno, not the Bay Area, not LA, in fucking Fresno. I can only imagine what it is in San Francisco right now.
Well, and this isn't even supposed to be the tippy top.
Yeah, it's supposed to get worse, right?
Yeah. Significantly.
I don't know how people are doing.
And they're at the point now where at least the most recent secretary, the press secretary, they do the daily conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like cutting down tremendously on the amount of time that they're even sitting there to ask questions.
Well, of course,
or to
because they're
answer
fucking
questions.
dumb. Like,
They
what are they
have
gonna
nothing
say?
Exactly.
You're
And
gonna talk about how good it is? It's obviously horrible.
the most recent thing that Biden said is that he doesn't foresee it improving anytime soon.
Oh, he doesn't foresee
Yeah.
anything. He's barely alive,
He
bro.
doesn't see.
He doesn't
period.
see next year, dog. That was done.
Yeah, so
He is
it's,
on his way out.
and that's the thing is that it's coming at us from so many different angles that I don't see how it's sustainable because it's funny when you talk to real estate agents right now because they don't.
There's another
They
racket.
don't. They don't want to believe.
There's
that
some
this
more
could all
bullshit.
fall apart. They're like, oh, people are always going to buy houses.
No,
It's
they're
like, it's
fucking
not.
not, bro.
Yeah.
If people don't have money, they're not gonna buy a house.
Exactly. And they try to act like it's fine, but
There's a lot of houses for sale in Detroit.
Mhm. Yeah. I remember when the recession hit hard, it was you could buy a block in Detroit.
For like $5,000.
Exactly, like the whole block.
Yeah, the whole block.
Yeah. Which is crazy. You could have
It's
built
$700
you could have built
house.
a kingdom for like
Yeah.
$200,000.
Yeah. And
Could've
they've
been-
gotten murdered
could've
in
been
it
running-
next week, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody else would have took it.
Yeah, it would have
Fuck
been
that.
it would have been like a more.
Have you
successful-
ever heard about the packs of wild dogs running around in Detroit?
No.
Like killing people? Yeah. They have a huge problem with wild dogs.
That's a reality show.
Feral
I would
animals.
watch.
Yeah.
Like dog catchers for
Dog catchers from
Detroit's
Detroit.
worst. Like-
Yeah. Just taking over houses and they kill people. Like it's the same thing in India. It's like that type of
Well, I've seen videos in India of like leopards that get into the cities. Have you seen that?
Hell yeah.
And all these people are scattering, and this leopard's just
Oh,
like
that's just-
swiping at
Woo!
everybody. And yeah, that's a little more exciting than bullfights because the bulls can't jump up where the leopards
They
can.
can
So it's
jump.
like,
Jesus, a leopard will chase you.
yeah. And so yeah, of course, a
Woo!
bunch of people's animals get killed in India all the time. Not, but you're saying there's also the dogs.
Yeah, they have a huge dog problem too.
That's wild.
Yeah, India seems like an interesting country, honestly, bro. Like
I would do a visit for sure.
I don't know about that. Man.
You wouldn't go there for a week.
I mean,
Maybe see
maybe.
the Taj Mahal, eat some Indian food,
Yeah, but
eat a
they
drum,
just
and
don't. John Mustaine,
be on your way.
this
I was
guy.
trying to think of like the most like
Befriend a pet monkey. And,
Yeah.
Rub a lamp.
Get it.
Get 3 wishes. This guy's just quoting Aladdin over here.
That's the most Indian thing I've ever seen.
Right? That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean I would go, but like I don't know, dude. It just doesn't
It's not
seem
at the
like.
top of your list.
Nah, I'd rather go somewhere else.
What's at the very top?
The very top of my list. Shh, maybe Europe. Maybe Italy.
Continent. Italy. Okay.
Can I nail it? I like to take my time.
Boppity boopity bop.
Give thorough answers.
Yes, that's.
No, Italy would be dope. You know, I'm a big food guy. You know that, so I'd like to go on a food
I can't
excursion.
even imagine the amount of weight I would gain. But I will say in Europe, like there's so much walking
Yeah.
that it's like it offsets it a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
At least the places I've been. I mean, obviously there's many places I haven't been, but yeah, a lot of walking. And
Well, you've been where? Israel, Russia,
Israel, Ukraine,
Ukraine.
Germany.
You was German?
Yeah, I was in Munich.
Didn't you go to Prague?
Yeah, Prague. I was
This
there
guy.
for a few days.
How was that?
Prague was amazing. I would for sure if I could start with one of the places I've been to go back right now, it'd probably be Prague.
Oh, no.
But man, Israel is really cool.
Well, Tel Aviv?
All over because
All
it was
over.
for Birthright, so I was.
Oh, that's right.
It was basically like a giant tour throughout all of Israel.
Well, it's not like it's that far.
It's not that far, but it's a lot of very very different ambiances. Like Jerusalem is very different than Haifa, is very different than Tel Aviv, is very like each spot had like a very different feel.
Got you.
Like and like noticeably.
Really?
So, yeah, it was a trip because it's.
Was it like because of like the hostilities out there, or was it just?
Well, it depends. So like if you're gonna get closer to areas where there's way more Arabs,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel a little bit more tension. But still, like that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, especially people that just hate Israel, is that Israel's the most diverse country in all of the Middle East. Israel has all kinds of people there. It's like it's definitely a variety, but yeah, there are certain areas that it gets a little more tension. Tel Aviv is like the paradise city. Like it's like the South Beach,
Oh, okay.
you know, like
It's
that,
tourist
like
mecca.
touristy. It's the beaches are there. There's the high rises.
Mhm.
You know, like the main streets, like all of that feel. But then yeah, you go to places like Haifa, and it's like it's way more like mountainous and hilly. So there's already like that change in kind of geography of it, and it's more locals. There's not as much tourism there. And like every spot looks different geographically. That's the thing. So you go to the
Oh,
Golden
wow.
Heights.
So there's a whole lot of range then.
Oh yeah, well, there's the Jordan River that splits between Jordan and Israel, and we went down that river on like these inflatable boats, like because there's like a current throughout the entire thing, and that was an awesome experience.
Really?
And there's people that just like camp out in different places along the river, and they would just like see us and be like waving.
No
and
kidding.
yeah. It
So
was,
when you were there, what for Birthright? I don't even know what that is really. So do you go to like all like the religious sites?
oh yeah,
What are
it's-
Jewish religious sites? I don't even know.
Well, so in Sfat, which is like one of the oldest cities in Israel,
Good.
I went to the oldest mikveh, which is the same how Catholics do or is it Catholics that do baptisms?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
Christian.
basically similar to that idea, but a mikveh is like you dunk yourself as many times as you want. It cleanses you, and you get out, and it's like a line of people. And basically, I went to the oldest one ever made because the newer ones look almost like hot tubs. It's cold water, but it looks like a hot tub. This was like you go
So
down.
it's like a form of like reconciliation, basically. Like you go and
Yeah, it's to cleanse yourself. Men and women
Same-
can't go to the same one. Yeah, basically, yeah, similar idea. And women have their own, and men have their own. Like you,
Got it.
because you go in naked,
Oh wow.
and it's
Nice.
like sick. Yeah, there's nothing like wrinkly balls when you're trying to figure out what you're cleansing
Right
yourself
behind
of.
you.
You're like, not again, not my uncle. No, I'm just kidding.
Daddy, no.
No, daddy, no. But yeah, so then and the water can never be touched by human hands. So it's basically from the mountain, they have like a ravine that's carved so that the water runs all the way down to it. So that water is ice freaking cold. Like it is not like, it's not it's shockingly cold.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you there's people that choose their lucky number for how many times they dunk themselves under. You can dunk yourself under once and get out. Like whatever, it's kind of like a personal experience thing.
So what is the point of why not just once? Why do you get to choose your number? Is there any
Because
specific-
if there's people that think like just whatever their importance is. Let's say they were born on the 5th, so they dunk themselves 5 times, or like anything that you choose.
So
like,
there's no real
all that needs to
significance
happen
to it.
is you need to be completely submerged and get out.
Got it.
The rest is just for yourself, I guess. You could
Okay,
say.
that's cool.
But the idea is
That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
yeah. So we went there. We went to Jerusalem, the old city. We basically hiked through the sewage. It was not the sewer system of the old city, I think.
Is
Or
it
was
like a
it-
catacomb type of thing?
It was like these tunnels
Yeah.
that like there's no, it couldn't have been sewage because it was running water. So it was like the old water system of the old city, like the old city
The old
Jerusalem.
city.
Yeah, where the Temple Mount was and it got
Oh, wow.
built on top of it and all that stuff. So we basically hiked through the water canal that they had established thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was cool as far as just like historical sites go and seeing that. Yad Vashem was the Holocaust museum that I went to. That was
I'm sure that was powerful.
insane.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're already, because halfway through the trip, you join, there's Israeli soldiers that join you for half of the trip. And so that you end up being friends with them. Like you party together, you go through these tours together, you do everything together.
Mhm.
And they're pretty much your same age. Like I went with the 18 to 22 group when I went. So I was the oldest, I was 22. And yeah, all the soldiers are like your same age.
Wow.
And these people, like, they're basically living out your life, but in this other country where they're under mandatory military service. Like, you know, it's a different lifestyle. But you end up bonding with these people and getting, like, in a very quick amount of time. That was the craziest part, is like how quickly everybody became so close.
Yeah.
And then so when we went to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum, it was like, it was already very, like, personal and just like the emotions were heightened.
So you
even
felt
more.
comfortable enough to like kind of let you guard
Oh,
enough to.
me and Aviad, the guy that I became like close to on the trip,
Yeah.
we were like crying together at one of the like benches, like
Yeah,
after you know after it got real intense at some points. And yeah, that entire museum is just, it's incredible. It's hauntingly incredible. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And the very last thing you see when you come outside, there's like this side fountain that goes down, and around it is all these bookshelves, and there's 6 million names
Oh, shit.
of the
Yeah.
all the recorded people that died in the Holocaust, and then there's like all these images that run all the way down this fountain to the bottom,
Yeah.
and then there's like a
6 million?
yeah, it's how many
Yeah.
Jews?
I
And
just never heard that number.
yeah, and I think how it was is that it was 4 million with names, and then there's 2 million that never got recorded. So there was like an empty spot for the 2 million that didn't. And Yad Vashem translates to a hand and a name. That's what Yad Vashem is in
Dude,
Hebrew.
what a time to have been alive, bro. Just for the world, man. That was
Just absolute. I try to think about what if something like that's happening right now, and the same way people didn't take it seriously during the Holocaust
Yeah.
is like what we're doing right now. And I think about that with like Yemen and places that people don't think about day to day.
yeah.
But like there's like major cleansing of people going on like in I'm sure in African countries and like places that
Africa,
you're
yeah.
just,
Well, China, right, with the Uyghur
With
Muslims.
the Uyghurs,
yeah.
yeah.
That's still going on.
yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it is slave labor versus them like genocidal,
Yeah.
but both are happening to some extent for sure. And everybody just kind of turns a blind eye to it.
I don't think people even understand it. We're so caught up in
Right.
the NBA finals and shit. It's like shit that doesn't matter.
Speaking of very important NBA finals,
Yeah,
it's
right.
actually just really important that Boston loses. That's the only thing I care about.
Why is that?
Just being a Laker fan, man. It's I need the Celtics are like your arch enemy.
Oh,
yeah, it's you grow up hate. There's nothing you hate more than the Celtics.
Crips and Bloods, huh?
Yeah, basically same idea.
You're not tired of Golden State winning though?
No, because they hadn't had success for so long that it almost feels like, oh, well, it's their time.
They're getting
You know, it's like
payback.
Jordan had his 6. You know, like there's everybody kind of has like these dynasties.
Well, they're at 6 now, right?
And, who, Golden State?
Yeah,
No, they can't be
5 or 6.
6.
I know they got 4.
Because they got one before Kevin Durant,
Yep.
and they got one. Did they get 2 with Kevin? Maybe they got 2 with Kevin. No, they might only be at 3 actually.
Pretty sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're at 3. So I think they got 2 with Kevin Durant, 1 without him before he came,
Yeah.
and then they lost in the last one against LeBron. But they almost won a 4th one. Yeah, so I think this will be their 4th in like however many years.
4th at bat. 4th in like what, 10 years?
Yeah.
6 years?
Yeah, which is, I mean, when there's like a true dynasty, like when the Lakers were killing it. They were, you know, basically between 1999 and 2003, that's their three-peat era with Shaq and Kobe. So I mean, I'm sure there was plenty of people that were like, "Man, aren't you tired of the Lakers winning it?" And it's like, nope.
Well, you're from Southern California,
right? But then that's the thing. So the Celtics always had more banners than us, and now it's tied.
It's tied now.
Yeah. So if the Celtics win, then they go back up by one. So I don't want that. So
we might have to just start letting girls play, bro. I heard
that's
the WNBA's trip.
Did you hear? Yeah, Trump said he would want to bring LeBron on to a team if he owned a female basketball team. He would want LeBron on there as to transition as a female.
Fuck yeah!
Super underrated comment
Damn.
that went under the radar.
That was slept on for sure. That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's the thing that I think makes them the most angry is how witty Trump is with his like insults. It's not like he's just like throwing out insults.
Yeah.
Like, he really like he turns people into.
He's good off the cuff, man. He's
quick thinker.
He's good off the cuff. I'll give him that for sure.
And I feel like he's the only president I've seen in my time for sure that has not aged one bit from a presidency. That guy looks exactly the same, if not better now.
He looks like he's been chilling.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess it's like, if you've been in a high power position most of your life that deals with, like, you know pretty
high
major
stress
things.
and all
Yeah,
that.
it's like, that's kind of
might be
the
a little
environment that
wrong
he thrives in. It might be what keeps him alive. You know?
He was looking a little slow there during COVID when it first
he got
happened.
sick.
Well, not even then. Like before, when he was doing all the the daily.
The daily.
Bits. He was looking a little sleepy.
People sleep on the fact that he did that.
But they got him on meth and shit. They got him hopped up.
Inject him with some.
What was he on? He was on what, like a
Regeneron.
What is that?
It was like something was like highly touted as like a big. You know, they went through a bunch of phases of different medications that were considered like the next best thing that's gonna really help with it. And I mean, he was on hydroxychloroquine, and you know.
I'm talking about when he was, because they were. It's known that they were hooking him up with whatever, with like amphetamines, right?
Oh no, not amphetamines.
Well,
not to my knowledge.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? I don't know.
I mean, I think it was like all the medications that you could possibly take that were like not yet approved for people for COVID.
Yeah.
They were giving it was like the kitchen sink, like just make sure they give him everything. And he said he felt like very good quickly afterwards. Which, I mean, yeah, for all I know, they were just.
I'm talking about before he got COVID.
Not that I know.
Yeah, I thought they were giving him whatever. They were giving him some sort of supplement to keep him like charged up.
That's something that we'll have to research because I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that I'd have to look into. I didn't see anything like that.
But yeah, man, it's funny when he lost. A couple weeks later, I'm like, man, I fucking miss him, bro. And not even that I'm the biggest Trumpsman, whatever. Like, I just miss this fool talking shit.
It's funny that nobody wants to discuss the accessibility of like information. Like, the entire time people hated on Trump, he was available all the time. He was taking questions all the time, press conferences all the time, daily press briefings. Like, he was always available. He would get off the helicopter. You'd be like, all right, what do you guys have? A bunch of pussies. Like, you would take on the media like I've never seen anybody do. Yeah. And then now, all these people that still want to somehow, I guess, fight for Biden. It's like, aren't you upset that he's never answering any questions about it?
Fight for Biden.
Yeah, it's a tough fight.
That's an L.
Yeah.
That is an L, you know.
But it was actually the same thing in the Obama administration. Obama never had, like, very rarely did he have press conferences. Very rarely would he take questions. Like, it had to be very, like, cookie cutter of how things were going to go.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of transparency I was used to. So when Trump got in, I was like, whoa, this guy's literally just talking to them all the time.
Yeah, I never paid attention during Obama, but yeah.
No, it was like a very irritating thing because it was like, I remember with Obamacare, like there was just, he would say his part and everybody would have all these questions and he would just take off.
He would just walk off the stage.
Yeah. And it was like he was untouchable. And then of course the media was already majorly behind him.
Yeah.
So it was like this unstoppable force. And all the time he's like stirring this racist pot of America, like just saying, oh, like the police are to blame for the problem, start aligning people against the police, dividing white and black. I mean, it was like, if anybody started driving a race divide in the country, Obama was the ringleader.
Yeah, well, I have seen polls that say that before Obama was in office, race relations were better, and then they were taking the poll after,
Isn't that
and so
wild?
they've gotten worse.
You would think like, okay, what would be the biggest accomplishment for a black man
The
in
biggest
a country?
Sign of unity.
Yeah, and then he gets elected twice, not once.
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
And race relations get worse.
Yeah,
It's wild.
I don't know.
It's the most backwards thing ever.
I part of me wishes that I would have paid more attention during his term and like really like kind of taking it more seriously.
Yeah.
But I really didn't care about politics. So I met you. You're the one who put me on.
Yeah,
it. No, I was
I remember a lot of YouTube and
Oh, yeah,
a lot of video showing.
I dove deep after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's
But then again, it's like I'm probably better off there.
I have that battle every day. I wondered a lot what life would be like if I just didn't pay attention to any of the political stuff.
Probably better.
But better is such a like hard measurement because as far as
It's not
I
quantifiable.
can't say that it's not interesting. You know,
It's definitely interesting.
It's-
But I mean, it depends. You can, if you're gonna get stressed out about it, not saying you, if you get stressed
Right.
out about it, you let it ruin your life, then you probably shouldn't be watching. If you can handle it and look at
Right.
it kind of objectively, then hey, whatever.
Right.
You know?
just look at it as
Watch as much as
a
you can handle.
simulation.
Huh?
Just watch it like a simulation, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Like a
just-
TV show.
Just see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
That's what it is. That's what it's made out to be, at least. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, it's a drama, sitcom, and a
Right.
thriller.
For sure, a thriller.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I don't know what's weirder, this or Stranger Things. You know,
You never seen
this is
this
pretty
show.
strange.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Stranger than fiction. So
Stranger, yeah. Fair enough. What is are we?
Don't make it obvious.
Well, I just don't remember.
I don't know.
acronyms.
Brittany G.
Oh, well, that's
We're past that though.
we are past that. Hopefully, she gets out of jail.
Brittany G is in jail in where? The Ukraine?
Brittany Griner.
Brittany Griner, not to be
She's
confused
in-
with Brittany Renner, who
Or-
should
or
be in
Grindr.
jail. Or Grindr. Brittany from Grindr.
Although she is a lesbian, so.
Brittany
But
from Grindr. Yeah, don't ever do that.
Griner. Grindy.
She's in jail for what? Weed?
Yeah, possession, and of course, it's being made into this thing that because there's a no gay policy in Russia that she's being mistreated in Russia because
She probably is.
yeah, she might be.
Why did you go?
My question is, well, I can see going because if it was for basketball or something,
Is that why she went?
I'm assuming because I really don't know how else she would go to Russia, but even if it's not like, you know, if you're in a country where weed might be getting you caught up,
A little risque.
like if I'm going to Singapore, I'm not trying to get weed.
Yeah.
you know.
Dubai.
Yeah, there's places where you're like, you just kind of know, like that's
Don't
the
fuck
law of
around.
the land, and if you are going to, know that these could be the consequences. And guess what? You're not inconspicuous as a 6'7" woman. I don't care what color you are.
Black and Russian.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like you're a giant and you're a woman.
And you're smoking weed.
Yeah, and if it smells like weed around you, who do you think they're gonna pay? Like
Probably American.
the one that looks like a normal Russian person or somebody else? Like it's
Yeah, she's gonna have to hold that L because
yeah, she might be holding it for a long time.
literally for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't see our government trying to get her out, so they kind of left her.
Biden's busy, man.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like I remember when ASAP Rocky got put in
Yeah,
prison.
Trump got him out.
Yeah. And nobody really cared. Like they didn't see a.
He didn't even care.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
People used to listen to what he had to say. That's the thing that people don't realize. Because there's so many people with this mentality where they're like, oh, people looked at us like we were fools because we had somebody like this in office. It's like, you can say that, but look at the actions of other countries when Trump said things. The actions speak louder than the words. You know what I mean? They can say all the things they want.
Yeah.
When they're bowing to the things that you're saying,
Yeah.
you know. I just remember that video of him at not the Geneva Convention. What is it called? The G7 Summit or
G7,
whatever.
yeah.
And they're like about to take photos, and he like pushes in front of the guy. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. Him, brother, pulling Putin and shit, shaking his hand
And
all
it's
hard.
like, you can think it's like douchey or toxic masculinity, but like at the end of the day, that's the kind of guy you want fighting for you in a boardroom.
Well, not only that is that if that's how these people are, you know what I mean? Then
How do you
gotta,
deal with them?
That's how you deal with it.
Exactly.
Have you never dealt with people like that?
Yeah.
Like, the only people that would say something like that is if you
Exactly.
never dealt
A
with
lot of
aggressive-
bagels. That's what it is.
and just weenies.
Yeah,
in general.
for real.
You know what I mean? These aren't like your neighbor. These are like world leaders, dictators. Like they're not gonna respect you if you come in all soft and limp-wristed and like nah.
But they try to push that on you as if that's what you should be, because feminizing men is the goal.
well, in this country,
Yeah. It's very easy to control a population of men that are feminized.
yeah. Because they're not men.
Yeah, exactly. They're practically women with penises, which is a woman.
Hold on,
Let me just
my math.
carry the two.
Carry the two. Add one.
Yeah.
Minus T.
Minus T plus LG.
Yeah, man. Shit, bro. I don't know, man. It's hard out here, man. Trying to find someone to conversate with,
To
to have a
level with.
relationship with. You know what I mean?
Damn
You
near.
hop on the apps, but sometimes it's just not even.
Yeah.
Does make you feel worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you just spent the next 20 minutes of your life using your thumb to decide your future.
Contemplating if you want to
Yeah.
pay $30.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, well, fuck, more
My card
swipes.
out.
Start doing math again.
Yeah. Transferring.
Nah, bro, I ain't been on the apps in a hot one, bro. They're not healthy. You fuck with the
Yeah,
apps?
I do.
Do you?
And
You had any
with no
success?
success. No, zero.
No?
It's almost like a passive time in some sense.
It's almost like Instagram.
Yeah, it's actually it's not conducive to anything good, I wouldn't say.
It's
And
definitely not healthy.
I was explaining to somebody that basically like you take everybody's like, oh, there's so many women out there, there's tons of people, and it's like there's really not that many when you cut it down to what you're actually willing to deal with. Like I'm not willing to deal with a liberal, so that's like cut out all of that.
Yeah.
At least not for a long-term relationship. You can mess around, but like,
Yeah.
where's it gonna go? So you cut out all that. You want to get at least let's lowball it, a 6 or higher, right?
Yeah.
And so
For
you cut
anything
out that, right?
Longer than,
Right. And
Yeah.
then you want them to be at least somewhat emotionally stable or bring something to the table, right? They can cook, clean, and like maybe be a family, build a family with.
long term wise. yeah.
Right. And so you end up with this sliver of a sliver of a sliver that it's really not that many options out
And
there.
a town like Vegas, where we're at, it's
That's
not-
another part of it.
I think that probably, well, no,
It's very transient.
not only that, it's just,
That actually makes the dating apps even more useless because in this city, at least half of those people are just visiting from out of town.
or they're going to be here for a year or two and then.
Right,
it's
exactly.
just
Yeah,
rotating door.
it's a runaway spot for a lot of girls. It's like I dropped everything and moved to Vegas. It's like, all right, cool. What does that tell me? And
It's a breeding
how does that
ground
look in a couple years? Or-
Strippers and
Right,
heathens.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's already tough by that, but I still don't think that it's impossible. I do take some of the blame on myself as far as not putting myself out in public enough.
Yeah.
I do. I know that part of that is my responsibility.
Well, especially if you want to pull in, and have a higher success rate, yeah, you're
Right.
gonna have to be out there.
Yeah,
But at the same time, dude, it's not like that shit's free, dog. Like,
that's the thing.
It's
Going
not-
out costs money.
yeah, I mean, the clothes alone, the cologne, the haircut, and then being out,
Yep.
you
And
know
the
what I mean?
gas for your
The
situation.
get shit now, gas. is
Exactly.
expensive.
A charge is a charge.
Bro, it's $20. Pick me up.
No, I have no complaints in that department. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't complain. But as
But
far
no,
as
there's a lot that goes into it just
Exactly.
to what kind of, get drunk enough to say something, you know what I mean? And then get
yeah,
rejected.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
Get
alright.
rejected.
Like, why am I even
I
doing
just paid
this?
$60 to get rejected.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's the other thing. It's like women still do expect you to buy all the stuff. It's like that hasn't
Shit.
changed. You know what I mean?
Nah.
No,
I ain't-
that's the expectation.
No, yeah, it's definitely an expectation.
And-
But I mean, I kind of feel like if you're gonna you kind of got to get played into, falling for that buy me a drink type of bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. So let's say we're out and you want to approach. We see 2 girls that we're going to approach. You tell me we're not going to buy them a drink.
Not initially.
Really?
No.
So you only talk to them first, and then because I mean
Yeah.
a lot of people use, hey, I'd like to buy you a drink as the initiator.
Well, that's why.
It buys you a ticket basically. take it to a conversation. So you're saying that you
I don't buy a drink till I'm at least 10, 15 minutes in.
Whoa. Wow.
For what?
That's impressive. No, I'm not saying
No, it's not about being impressive. It's just I won't just approach any woman if she's gotta have to look at me first.
Okay.
You know, if she's kind of like looking my way, kind of like looking like she wants me to go talk to her, I'm gonna go talk to her and be like, you know, see if we even jive. You know what I mean? Give you a minute, you know, we'll have a little conversation. If it's not hitting, it's not hitting. I go my own way.
Just call me a jive turkey.
Yeah, you're jive turkey. But
I'm
I'm not just going around, hey, can I buy you a drink? Like
Right.
a fucking square.
No,
you know what
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking in positions of when I've ever approached girls at bars.
Yeah.
I feel like the drink offer comes like fairly quick, like definitely not 15 minutes.
Well, it's
You know what I'm
easy.
saying? It is easy.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah,
100%.
You know what I mean?
Because it's like if you've started the conversation, buying them a drink will at least buy you another, whatever, 15 minutes of conversation.
I don't want to. Well, I mean, I guess, but like,
I don't mean to make it so transactional, but at the same time, we're talking about how much it costs to go out. You know what I mean? So,
No.
So I'm thinking like at some point, you're probably gonna end up paying for them for something.
I'm not. There's nothing wrong with paying for a drink.
Right.
I'm not
No,
saying
I
there's,
agree. Yeah.
there's something wrong with within the first 2 minutes of meeting somebody, you're offering them shit. You're kind of setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion.
I can see what you're saying.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like the vibe has to be there before anything.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna buy you a drink and then to
With
come
no
find out
interest.
this is Vegas, bro. Drinks $10, $15. I'm not gonna do that
I
four
agree. No, I
four
understand.
times a night. You know what I mean? Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I understand. I don't know. I guess the right or wrong behind it. Just because for me, I've never really been much of the approacher, which is like kind of sad, but like
I'm not either.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
It's
I mean,
like-
if you, like I said, they call it choosing signals out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
choosing
Out here in the trenches, they call it choosing signals. But if a chick's, like I said, if she's looking your way or if she's
Right.
giving you a fucking hint that she wants you to go talk to her, then you gotta go talk to her.
Right.
You know, unless this bitch is just ugly. But
right.
you know what I mean?
I
But
understand.
you know, but if you're already that far in,
Right.
then the rest is just making sure you guys are even compatible on the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you get the drink, and then hey, what are you doing after this? Whatever.
Right. That makes
You
sense.
go from there.
Yeah. The approach is really the name of the game.
The approach is the hardest part.
Yeah. 100%.
You know,
It's so funny that I'm like probably more willing to get in a fight most often than I am to like go talk to someone.
rejection is not easy.
Yeah.
It definitely isn't. And I don't think, you know, I don't think that we should just be setting ourselves up to get rejected either. Like, I think that's kind of crazy.
Like playing that numbers game.
Yeah, I can't see how in the long run that would be good for your, like, self-esteem or, like, just your spirit in general. You're not to
Yeah, I
talk
guess
to
it's
whatever about
like
it, but, like,
a numbing thing, right? Like
Yeah,
you
but-
hear no enough to where you're like, I really don't get. Like same with sales, right?
yeah, but why would I approach somebody that isn't even giving me a hint? Females, if they want you, they're going to let you know. You know what I mean? They're going to do something. So, like, why would I go to some chick that's not looking my way, is doing her own thing, you know, whatever she's doing,
Right.
I'm just going to go and interrupt her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's
I
a
get it.
better way to do it.
Yeah, I get it.
And waiting
You
for
gotta just go
someone
up
to
and
look
ask
your way
them
is
if
the way.
they've heard of Sicko Mode.
Give her it's yeah, I guess. It works for some guys. I'm cool.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I like my way.
There's a guy that I saw on TikTok that like I think his whole channel is pretty much he just goes around on college campuses
Yeah.
and he just asks girls like in different ways he asks them for their number
Yeah.
and yeah more often than not he's successful.
Yeah.
He's not a bad looking guy, he's not great, but like he's in pretty good shape, like but he just goes up and says like just like really basic stuff like I just thought you're really beautiful, you mind if I get your number? And it's like it's pretty crazy like how often
They say yes.
yeah it's I mean like sometimes he changes it to like more like cheesy pickup lines or whatever, but like
Yeah.
he definitely has a pretty good success rate.
You think he's closing or is he just getting the number?
I think it's just for the channel. I think after the video, I think he probably runs back up to him and says, "Hey, that was filmed for you or for my channel."
Oh,
Because he's
you
pretty
have to,
big,
right?
like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just like screwing, like basically screwing with a bunch of people.
Get everybody caught up.
Yeah, they're all like waiting for a text. You never
Yeah.
tell them. That's funny.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, no, it's hard out here, bro. I try to tell people. I got a homie, you know who he is. He's in a wonderful relationship with my bro. Don't even just tie it
Hold
down
on to it.
Start having
Yeah.
kids now, bro. That's the way.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
keep it going.
it's at the point now where if I mean I was at that point with the last one that I was with that if they check enough boxes, like you just you make sacrifices on another end, and you just are willing to do it, especially in today's day. Because I really just.
Would you say that? Well, how do I frame it? You said make sacrifices. Why do you think? Would you rather be in a position to where you didn't have to make the sacrifice? And I know that's kind of an easy question, but like, what do you think you would have to do?
Like, there's like certain
sacrifice?
intangible, or like just things that people are equipped with personality wise, that you get to the point where it's like, okay, this person that I'm with already covers so much of what I want.
Yeah.
Am I gonna fight for starting an entirely new relationship just to find this little chunk that's missing? Because maybe that next person has that, but they're missing a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you have to kind of start weighing your options at that point. Of like it was for her, it was the discussions could only get so deep. And I'm into psychology. I like thinking deeper and having
being real
kind
with
of
shit.
right, and maybe opening conversations to a level that I don't think she was either capable of or willing to at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But and it was something I was like, look, there's enough other good things going on that like I can let this go and just if anything, that could be my hobby, right? Like I'm into psychology. That's my thing that I do on my own. Whatever, compartmentalize it, and so I was willing to sacrifice that.
Got it.
Same with the idea of them coming with a kid. Is that ideal for me? No, but I'm also getting to the point where at my age, the odds of finding a quality woman that doesn't have a kid yet, it's tough because you're looking at a younger age range who I don't mentally identify with as well.
Yeah, but you really think that's that? I mean, I don't know. I've always felt like. I mean, yeah. I guess I see what you're saying.
You have to think about it from both sides. Why are you in your 30s without a kid? is the question. You know what I mean? Like, there's two sides to it. Yeah. It's like.
But why date in your
problem.
30s? Why date in your 80s? Why wouldn't you date younger?
Oh no, so that's what I'm saying. So then you're putting yourself to the age range. Let's say the sweet spot being 24 to 29, right? Whatever that range. Let's say. Okay, on the 29 range, yeah, I'm gonna be probably more feeling an equal level with people in that range. At 24 years old, man, think of us at 24.
Yeah, but they're females, bro. They're mature.
Yes.
Granted, they're not grown-ups, but
right. But so okay, like in this last trip I took out with friends, and they were obviously in that stage where they wanted to party. They wanted to go out. Different guys, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're at a stage where they're just not in it for the long term yet.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there as a 31-year-old, and you're like,
over it.
It's like, man, like this would be cool if you were serious, but you're not. So this is nothing. And that's what you end up dealing with. I'm not saying they don't exist in that range that you can find one. It's just, like I said, the sliver gets a lot thinner in that area. Especially if you don't want them to have a kid. I
think we gotta go younger.
We're a bunch of maps over here.
I just say minor. Hey, whoa.
Do you know what the legal age in Vegas is?
16. Huh?
Yeah, that's insane. I can't believe that's
not really. I mean, not that I'm
a 45-year-old can go to a sophomore in high school, have sex with them, and
okay, but then he could go to a senior in high school. Like, I mean, it's not that different.
I don't think it's great either way, but
no,
16,
I don't either. I'm just saying it's not like
because I just think of myself at 16 and 18. It's like
well, think of the world 100 years ago though. Well, that's when this shit was created.
Right. So that's what amendments are for. It's not like. I'm just saying it's weird. 16's weird.
18's weird.
It is, but it's
18.
less weird than 16. I agree. I don't even think you should be able to vote till 25. I think that would be one of the most helpful things we could do in this country is not allowing you to vote unless you're older than 25.
You gotta test into it.
You just gotta have some life experience, And the way things are now, it's like we've never been such a coddled society as we are now. So a 25-year-old today versus a 25-year-old in the 40s, two very different 25-year-olds.
In the 80s, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, you know, we have to kind of think of how the formation of what we've created as a society is.
Yeah.
And what is your mind like at that age? And at 18, these kids they don't even know what gender they are, bro. It's like, how can they vote? They don't even
can't
know if
get the
they're a
basics
male or
down,
female.
huh?
They don't even know which bathroom to go
Oh
to.
my god.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very-
For the record, I'm not trying to hook up with 16-year-olds. Just
no, of
I
course
just
not.
wanna keep that
No,
clear.
absolutely, yeah.
Just for you
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Don't you assume?
Don't be assuming that
Yeah.
I put that evil on me.
Yeah. Get them before the hair does.
Old enough to be old enough for me.
Yep.
What did Eminem say? Look at the bushes out there.
Oh man. Yeah, it's entertaining. Like I said, at the very least, it's all entertaining.
Yeah, it's quite a show. That's for sure.
Yeah. Just makes you wonder what your role in the whole thing is.
My role?
Yeah.
I don't think we have roles, man. I think we kind of just do the best we can and die.
Yeah. Well, that's true. But I mean,
We're essentially like what, a hive society, a hive colony.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of everything.
yeah, just with consciousness. Yeah.
You know, if we were like ants. You know, we're not that important at the end of the day. No one of us is that important. You know?
Yeah. No, you're probably right. But it's like if you don't allow yourself to have like a purpose and something to strive for.
No, you have to have goals. You do. People do need purpose, or else they turn into what we have.
What we have. Exactly.
Yeah. Middle class America.
Yeah, it's
Even rich people though, rich people without purpose, they just go off the fucking rails, man. This shit gets real dicey.
well, it's being a human is difficult in its own way.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's the whole suffering thing.
isn't that what life is? There's like a
life is suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's unavoidable for everybody. It's like you can have.
Well, we all suffer at some point.
Exactly. It's inevitable.
But to say life is suffering, you think? All of life?
No, not all of it, but generally speaking, it is. It's like
Maybe.
basically very early on you're deteriorating in terms of your entire lifespan. So
Yeah.
it's that's why finding a purpose is important. Because there's no shortage of things to see as negative or as falling apart.
Would you rather have a purpose or things to do?
A purpose. There's always things to do.
Right, but I mean, things to do in the sense of,
I don't know that there's anything more important than purpose.
what do you feel your purpose is in?
Create. Because I've already thought about the fact that even when everything takes off and I'm just have massive amounts of wealth that I'm at the point where I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
I think just because of what I feel purpose wise, I think I'll continue just like creating businesses. Like not even for more money, just I have an idea, I'm gonna see if it works. I have an idea, I'm gonna see if it, and just keep doing it. Like all these ideas I have, like the Chipotle style, that having a bar called Politics, like.
Bro, you're gonna get somebody shot, bro. We can't do
at
that
least
one.
at least a few.
We can't do that one, bro. They're gonna shut you down.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes, but
No, I hear
mean,
you. I
basically
hear you.
just creating. That's
So you feel like creating, just in general.
yeah, creating.
Okay.
Because it's like I wish I could narrow it down, but like I can't say creating art because I go through these phases where I have like these creative like bursts that I create art, and then I go it's been a while,
Yeah.
and then I have an internal guilt because I know that it's like one of those, like all the self-help people and all that, they're always like, you find that thing that you're like kind of better at than most people, and like that's what you just put everything into, and it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows, but it's I feel like this internal guilt of not creating sometimes, but I'm doing stuff with Infinite Motive as slowly as it's taking off, and you know, it's everything just kind of goes at a slower pace, but I am creating.
Yeah.
So, and that for me is, I need to have that, because otherwise I'll die of boredom. You know, because you can have everything. It's not. There's gonna get to a point where you can buy anything, have anything, and then like, what's the day to day? You know, like Peterson talks about. He's like, you go to Cancun and you're drinking margaritas on the beach. He's like, okay,
that's not life.
You do that for 2 weeks, and you're gonna be bored out of your mind.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna need something that keeps you going every day.
Yeah.
And that's.
Do you think children give you purpose?
Yes, 100%.
Do you think it would narrow down what exactly you find as your purpose? Do you think it would be? Yeah. Because creative is pretty vague. So creative would be pretty vague. So you think it would narrow down exactly what?
Yeah, but I think it's. I think what would happen is I need to have created enough security for that, so that financials aren't an issue, and then at that point, if I'm having kids, I think by virtue of having kids, your next role is to have them be your purpose. That's you're pouring everything you have into that vessel, you know, and I want to be at a point where I can do that. I don't want to be at a point where I'm like, oh, like I'm missing his games, or I'm missing, you know, I'm missing his first steps, like these kinds of things. Like I just.
So you want to be involved in very
I want to be around, and I think that once you make that decision, that's like you've kind of, you know, you still have all your things, but that's your main purpose. At least until they're an adult, I think that.
But I mean, that's just a whole other set of problems.
Of course. Yeah.
Because I know your parents. Well, your case is a little bit different. I'm not going to get into it, but I know your parents have been there for you. I'm sure your dad has given you plenty of advice, and some not always asked for.
Just some.
Just some.
But yeah.
I mean, you know, it's going to be the same for your kids. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. You know.
Yeah. It's.
I really feel like, you know, when I get to that point in my life, I feel like that'll be really. I mean, what else are you gonna focus on? You know, things. Like I just don't see it. I don't get it.
Right.
Once their basic necessities are taken care of, which we're gonna have in the basic necessities.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna have plenty.
And that's the thing, is that anything that I've ever gotten, no matter how amazing or whatever I thought it was at the time, you get used to everything.
It all gets boring.
Yeah. It's just and. That's why the whole get rich quick thing is it's cool to some extent, but it's also you're gonna get bored of everything way faster.
You're gonna kill yourself.
you're gonna be depressed.
Yeah, that's depressing as fuck.
Right. And so it's almost more fun to get it incrementally.
No, you have to love your work. You have to love the work.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's one thing I finally realized, you know, after much introspection and, you know, different types of, you know, whatever. It was just I need to be in love with what I'm doing every day. Not in love, but you know what I'm saying? I need to be happy that I'm doing this today.
Right.
Like, what can I do?
And you're not serving somebody else's purpose.
That too.
Yeah.
But even if you were, if I were to be, you know, if I still wanted to be a chef, if I was a chef at the highest end, best restaurant that I love being at every day, you know, what fucking difference does it make, you know? I probably wouldn't like being the owner, because being the owner is a fucking pain in the ass.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's probably the most important thing, especially as men. We have to love what we're doing every day. The second we don't love it, something's wrong, because you can't live your life just miserable every
slaving away to something that you don't care about.
Exactly, because then it affects everything in the household. You come home, you meet your wife, you meet the kids, you kick the fucking dog and weigh in. You know what I mean?
On everybody else.
You know, you start breaking doors, and that's when shit gets crazy. You know?
That's true. It's important to love what you do. Well, it's fair enough.
Fair enough, man. I think that's it.
First episode in the books. That had to be at least an hour.
We're gonna find out.
About to find out right now. It hasn't been recording.
Talking about nothing.